Basically, Hyper Innovation Heads, what we do is we're a community of CIOs, like Chief Innovation Officers from 25 corporations looking for
how are you?
Very good, very good.
Excited to have you.
Super excited. We're about to come. So excited.
I'm good. It's been nice having you.
It's almost like a roller coaster journey. Some days we feel like we're top of the world, and some other days we feel like, oh, I just can't really do this anymore.
The day before demo day, it's been an absolutely incredible experience, although I'm absolutely knackered.
It's been an intense few weeks in the build up to demo day, but it's also been very rewarding. Just the number of experts and mentors we've had the chance to meet and interact with. You know, it's been amazing to see how everyone's decks and everyone's stories are coming and shaping together so nicely.
So the run-up to demo day, we were incredibly nervous. We had a product we believed in, a team that we believed in, a little bit of capital, and a lot of good.
My dream for us really goes way beyond just laundry and dry cleaning, and I really believe that we can completely close the loop on so many more unsustainable practices and services in the UK and globally.
Amazing to see how good the Foundry was, but I think the best testament is what's happened to the product, what's happened to our growth, and what's actually happened to our investments.
You're surrounded with wonderful people, you're introduced to fantastic investors and advisors, which really make you believe that you can achieve your entrepreneurial goal.
A place like Adelaide is really nice to have a sense of community.
You need to trust your gut, trust your instinct, stick to your gun.
The sky for us is very much the limit.
Coming from a background where networks weren't kind of available constantly, the world that the Foundry gave me access to is a world that I would never have been a part of otherwise. So if I had one word, I'm infinitely grateful.
Welcome to those who have never been here before, and a massive welcome back to those who have. We appreciate you all. The Oxford Foundry is a multidisciplinary community. We were founded by Said Business School, a big clap for them. And we have two core focus areas. One, on upskilling our future workforce, and second, venture creation and growth. Our audience, all 24,000 students at Oxford, all alumni, and when we scale, our wider global community as well. Today, we are celebrating our annual demo day. You're going to hear 10 ventures pitch, and although they all come from very different sectors, as you'll see in our venture portfolios, they are all bound together by one intention: serving society in some way. You'll hear more about this from the VC shortly, but we're really committed to seeing what we can do as Oxford in building startups and contributing to our local, national, and international entrepreneurial ecosystems. And not just doing that, ensuring that we're actually making the startups we're supporting diverse and as inclusive as possible. We are a home for opportunities, resources, and a lot of networks. And one thing that I will say is we're investing in those who are going to make tomorrow very different to today. Now with that, I'm so pleased to introduce to you our Vice-Chancellor, Professor Louise Richardson, who's been leading or pioneering the innovation agenda at Oxford. Louise.
Good evening, everyone, and again, welcome. But as any of you who've had any connection with the Foundry will know, that while it was the brainchild of Dean Peter Tufano of the Business School, the driving force behind it is none other than Anna. So between them, they are responsible for everything that's happening here today, and we're immensely proud of them. Give them a clap, please. Well, as everybody knows, Oxford is a very old university. So old we don't even quite know how old we are. But we've been around a very long time. But as many of you may also know, we're not only very old, but we're very good. We've been ranked #1 in the world for the 3rd year in a row by the only reputable ranking of global universities. And we take great pride in that, too. But the reason we're good is because of the quality of the students and the academics we can attract. Any university is only as good as the academics and students it can attract, and it has always been this way. But perhaps because we're so old, there is an image of the university from the outside that doesn't correspond to the reality. It is thought by some that because we are old, we are undoubtedly privileged, but we take our privilege seriously, that we are stuffy, that we are unchanging. But you don't get to be good by not changing. And in fact, this university has evolved throughout its history, which is why we're in the position we're in today. And there is no greater exemplar of the change that is Oxford than this Foundry. As you look around this space, it isn't quite the gleaming spires around the town. There is a sense about Oxford from the outside that we are slow to change, but in fact, this building was a nightclub just a couple of years ago, and it was transformed in the course of a summer. So when there are good ideas, Oxford grabs them and acts on them quickly. Final point I'd like to make is that I often think of universities as the last bastion of the optimists. And there's a lot going on outside the university in this country and in many others that don't give us grounds for optimism. We've got a paralyzed political system in this country, and I won't comment on that in others, but they're at least as bad. But when you see the talent that you're going to see this evening from a range of students, from different disciplines, from all across this university, you cannot but have confidence in the future. So enjoy this evening, and remember there is extraordinary talent here. And even though we have changed from time immemorial, our core mission has never changed. We have been about research, about teaching, and about improving the world around us. And these students that you're going to hear today are just the latest version of that. So please enjoy these presentations. Good night.
Thank you so much, Louise. Now, I love the way you look. Yes, you. Now I'm really pleased to welcome on stage Biz Stone. Biz is the founder of Twitter, Medium, Jelly, but beyond all of that, and most importantly, he's an advisor to the Oxford Foundry, alongside other guests today, Mohammed Amersi, Alexis Durat St. James. Please give a round of applause for our advisors. They make this happen, and uniquely, Oxford is actually a centre for entrepreneurs led by entrepreneurs, and I'm regularly guided by them, and they're probably sick of my emails at occasions as well, but they've been brilliant. And on this, Biz, please say a few words.
Okay. Thanks, Anna. You're the best. You're a living treasure. We love you. We all love you. She always makes me do this. So recently, a few entrepreneurs, young entrepreneurs, not from here, have they've approached me and they've said, I'm planning to go it alone, and I wondered if you would give me some advice, or if you have any advice for me. And to them I say, yes, I do have advice for you. Don't do that. You have to find a co-founder, and you have to find a team that wants to go with you on a crazy adventure, because even with a dream team, it's going to be really difficult. When we work together, we make each other stronger, and we form a community. And if we're fortunate enough to have some measure of success, then we have the opportunity, or perhaps the responsibility, to affect some kind of positive societal impact. And Oxford Foundry is such a rich community, and it's so tight-knit, even though it's relatively new. So I would encourage all of you to really to give and to nurture this community, because I guarantee you that as much as you give, you'll get back in multitudes. So, yeah, I guess that's pretty much what I wanted to say. I think I had something else I wanted to say, but I forgot. Anyway, oh, I know what it was. Okay, so every time I visit, I'm reminded on the subject of community just how Oxfo really drives home this idea that the whole is greater than the sum of its parts. It truly does represent that, and I'm just really proud to be able to say that I'm part of this community, and to Anna and to Peter and to everyone who makes this place tick, keep up the good work. Thank you.
Thanks, Biz. And now I'm truly delighted to invite Arlen Hamilton on stage. Arlen is founder and managing partner of Backstage Capital. Now, her story is one of true resilience, and she is an inspiration to a lot of people, especially those from underrepresented groups, which is something at the Foundry that we all passionately care about. We want to see more female founders. We want to see more people of color setting up businesses and being recognized for it. And to that effect, we've started up a program called Elevate Women. So last year I came to you and there was one out of the 9 startups we had that had a female founder. The Elevate Women program was started up post that. Following that, we have 30%, so 3 out of the 10 are female founders in this cohort, with 50% being in founding teams. And I hope I can come to you in cohort 3 with 50% female founders. And as we continue to scale, we'll ensure that that will be more representative of other underrepresented groups across the board. So Arlen, so happy to have you on stage.
Thank you. So thank you, Anna, for inviting me. Arlen Hamilton, I'm at Backstage Capital, live in Los Angeles, grew up in Texas. And about 4 years ago or so, I was on food stamps and had been homeless for great stretches of my adult life and had a negative bank account. And I said to myself, I'm going to start a venture capital fund because that's what you do in that situation. And so the reason I started the fund, Backstage Capital, officially in 2015, but worked on it for years prior, is because in the States, I saw the disparity of capital between the capital that was going to straight white men and everyone else. And, some of my best friends are straight white men. They're lovely people. I encourage you to talk to one, and they need all the help they can get these days. So I encourage you to reach out to them. But the innovation and intelligence and all, talent and all of that, it didn't match the amount of funding, at least in venture capital, that was going to anyone who was not identifying as straight white male. It was less than 10% was going to everyone else. And that just doesn't make any business sense. So you can talk about it in terms of social impacts, which I do often. And as a gay black woman, it affects me every day of my life. But you also would be missing out, and I felt this then, you would be missing out on some returns that were being left on the table. So I set out to raise this fund. I ended up raising a few $1 million, and we've now invested in 125 companies that are led by women, people of color, and LGBT founders, including, thank you, thanks, including 5 that are going through our Backstage Capital Accelerator program in London right now. So I'm very excited about that. We were the first city outside of the US that we decided to, London was the first city that we decided to land, and I'm excited about that, and I'm also really honored to join the Elevate Advisory Committee and encourage people to support that as well. I didn't tell you this, Biz, but I read your book when I was living out of a motel with my mom, thinking of starting this fund. I read things a little bird told me about the starting of Twitter. And I use Twitter today to yell at all manner of people. So it's, it's all, a 360 for sure. And so I just, if I could encourage anything today, I guess it would be to not look at underrepresented founders. We call them underestimated founders for a good reason. Not to look at underestimated founders as some sort of charity or, necessarily this heartwarming thing that you look at and they're in this bucket and they're an HR problem or we are the feel-good part of your day. You look at it, if you're an investor in the room, look at founders who are being overlooked and just study it the same way you would study other trends and other things that interest you. Study what founders have been able to do with the scraps they have been given so far. And then measure that against putting them on equal footing. And use your imaginations and imagine what that would mean if they were put on equal footing by your dollars and how you would benefit from that. It's very simple. Also, I will say this is a message to on my speaking tour to white people. I was in Selfridges yesterday. Is that how you pronounce it? Selfridges? Yeah. And I was looking at a 900-pound pair of shoes that I was thinking of purchasing, because I do that now. And a white woman came up to me and didn't even look at me, but she somehow, out of the corner of her eye, saw a black person. And she proceeded to talk to me about to complain about the store and ask me questions about her shoes and asked me to go get her a pair of shoes. And I told her that was a really good story. I don't work here, I don't work for you. And I went to a different department. But don't do that. That's the whole story. Just don't do that. Don't do that. Just, look up, pay attention. And because you're in this room and because you're supporting what Anna and Peter and Biz and everyone else here are doing, it means you're already one step ahead of the game. I don't think of this as a us against them proposition. I'm an idealist. I see us all working together. I see us all making a lot of money together. I see myself wearing a one-piece tracksuit that's velour and purple with a bird on my shoulder and rich. I see a lot of things. So I hope, come with me, won't you? And do it by investing in people who don't necessarily look like you, come from the same background as you. And the last thing I'll say is that today I decided I'm going to figure out how to do a scholarship for a black woman in England who is doing well and get her to Oxford. And I hope that when she does that, she goes through this program too. That's it.
Okay, now to the pitches. So I'm really pleased to introduce our host for the evening, Mikesh Udani. Mikesh is a founder from Cohort 1, and he's going to be talking about his journey briefly and then hosting you to what you're really here for.
Yes, thank you so much, Anna, and good evening, everyone. Thank you. I'm Mikesh, co-founder and CEO of Albus Health. We are an Oxford spin-out company and make systems to predict and prevent asthma attacks for over 300 million people in this world. As Anna described, we were very fortunate to be a part of Elevate's first cohort. And if I was to be honest with you, when we were applying, we thought, wow, it would be great to get some free office space bang in the center of the city. And yes, it was great. In fact, it was one of the most pleasant and inspiring places I've ever worked from. A few years ago, I used to work with an investment bank, and if I think of the working atmosphere there, pleasant and inspiring are not the words that come to my mind. But in the course of the accelerator, we gained immensely from a range of different avenues, from fundraising and strategy to marketing, PR, and recruitment. And to tell you what that has done for us, since the time we started in March 2018 at Elevate, we have doubled our team, raised 1.2 million, and are commercializing with one of the largest pharma companies in the world. And we'll be doing our next round in Q4 this year. And Foundry has been a great ally in this, and we hope to continue on this journey. This evening, I have the honor of introducing to you 10 stellar startups from Cohort 2 of Elevate. These are companies ranging from IoT to cancer diagnostics, from publishing to skincare. And they will be around all evening to answer any questions or discuss further. So to kickstart this action-packed evening, our very first venture is working to empower social inclusiveness in 1 billion people in this world. Please welcome lawyer, Rhodes Scholar, founder and CEO of Sociability, Matt.
Hi everybody, thanks Mikesh, thanks everybody here, it's lovely to be here. My name is Matt and I'm from Sociability. We're on a mission to make the world a more sociable place for all, but I want to begin with a story. So, this is me, my name is Matt. This is you, Biz. Unfortunately, I'm sorry I couldn't find a more flattering photo. Biz, if you and I wanted to go and have a coffee or have dinner or get a drink, then I would need to know whether there were steps or a ramp or how wide the door was or if there was a disabled bathroom. And unless you were just going to leave me outside, then this information is also now relevant to you. But how do I find this? Well, currently I'd go on my computer and I'd look on Google Street View and I'd muck around, or I'm on TripAdvisor hoping that somebody's left a review about wheelchair access for this random venue I want to go to. The long story short is it's super tedious, it's frustrating, and it's time consuming. And so this is me. After every time that I want to go out with my friends. I'm fed up, I'm exhausted, and I'm apparently a little bit fatter. But the problem is, it's also really difficult to find this information. So in the UK alone, people with access needs only find the information that they want for accessibility 14% of the time. And this is not just a problem linked to the UK. Around the world, there are more than 1.5 billion people with access needs, whether they're disabled, elderly, or pushing a pram. And that's not to mention all of the people they spend time with. Their friends, their family, their loved ones. And so the question is, would you leave the house without knowing whether or not you could get into the venue you're going? Or wondering whether you be the reason the dinner party gets cancelled or the plans get changed? Or anxious and stressed about being a burden to your friends and family? Because we think that's a problem, and so we've built a solution. The solution is called Sociability. It's a mobile app that allows people to really quickly and easily find access information for social venues and shops. It's super easy to use. You pull up a map and find yourself in an area. You can look at venues nearby, and you can see the access information front and center in a detailed manner. And if it doesn't exist, you can add it in through the app. It's a crowdsourced database of access information for the community, by the community. We're trying to be functional, intuitive, and accurate. And to that last point, we're moving away from this binary of accessible and inaccessible, because that doesn't actually tell you anything. What we're trying to do is give users the detail they need to be able to make a decision as to whether a venue is accessible or not, given their own needs and preferences. Because accessibility is fluid. It changes between people, but also between contexts. If I'm at a restaurant by myself, it can be step-free. If I'm with friends, I'll need 1 or 2 steps is fine. If I'm at a restaurant for the whole evening, I'll need a bathroom. If I'm going for half an hour, I won't. And so what we're trying to do is give users the detail they can use to empower themselves to make decisions on their own. Because this is what our competitors are failing to do. The platforms out there have vague and unhelpful labels. They also have really patchy coverage, and most of them just have really boring venues. If I want to go on a date, I want to go to the cool restaurant around the corner, not the local library or the public hospital up on the hill. And so we're building a product that people love. We're trying to create something that creates huge value, has powerful positive impact on people's lives, and they use every day, day in, day out, because it works. And then, like a company like Waze, we're confident that once we've maximized our users and the information on our database, we can monetize this really easily through a variety of means. But 3 in particular are affiliate programs and referral fees from complementary platforms like TripAdvisor or OpenTable. The second is advertising to a curated community of people with access needs who want to be connected to the products and the services and the events that they never get told about. And the third is then premium features for larger business organizations. And we're confident that this is an opportunity not to be missed, because around the UK alone, social venues and shops every year miss out on more than £12 billion of revenue simply because they're inaccessible. That's not including to the friends and families of people with access needs. And so for us, the equation is simple. More inclusive businesses means more customers, means more revenue. So where have we come from? Well, we're super early stage. We've been up and running for about 6 months, and since we joined the Foundry, we've raised about $50,000 in pre-seed funding to build our MVP, the first iteration of our app, which we're launching next week. And we have a really strong network of partners and supporters who are really keen to help us make this a reality. Both large organizations like Leonard Cheshire Disability, the Rhodes Trust, but also people on the ground signed up and ready to go to help us build this information database by collecting it and creating something that the community will benefit from for the community. And so, looking past our launch in Oxford next week, we're raising some seed funding to be able to grow our team, develop our app, and then to be able to scale around the UK and beyond. This is the team, so I'm ably supported by Emma, Anna, and Julian, who are based across London and Oxford, helping out with operations, marketing, and the technical side of things respectively. And we're super fortunate to have a really strong and talented team of advisors. And to highlight three in particular, we have Srin, who's based in San Francisco, who's the head of accessibility products at Airbnb. We also have Charles, who's the head of Oxford Sciences Innovation just around the corner, and Miles Young, who used to be the former CEO of Ogilvy and Mather. But what do we need? Well, we need some funding, which is original for a startup. We need some funding to be able to help grow our team, to be able to develop our functionality, and to be able to scale around the UK. But perhaps more importantly, we need partnerships. We want to partner with anybody and everybody who can help get our tool into the right hands. We want to partner with large organizations, small organizations, big corporates, because we're trying to build a community of people who care about access and inclusion, and who want to empower the 1.5 billion people around the world with access needs, and their friends, their families, and their loved ones. So, if you're keen to help make the world a more sociable place for everybody, then please get in touch. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Matt, for that moving speech. 87% of the companies in the world feel it's impossible to digitize without IoT. Let me explain why. Because for all the simple things that we do every day, like buying a sandwich or taking a shower, they all start and end with regulations. This means checks, many, many checks, daily, some even hourly, that today people manually go and do. This is very suboptimal and inefficient. Our next company, Infogrid, is changing this. Please welcome Will from Infogrid.
We've all benefited from things like vaccines or clean running water, but neither of these things are safe unless kept at the right temperature. So behind the scenes, every single day, organisations like the NHS and many others are continually checking them to make sure they are safe. But they're doing this with people. It's hugely wasteful, and it's a very low quality of data. Infogrid are changing that. With our end-to-end IoT solution, you now get a live, constant stream of powerful data, alerts if anything's going wrong, and powerful reports for historic data. But it's not just the NHS and temperature that we're solving this problem for. We're already working with a large range of facilities management, commercial property, and even financial institutions to solve problems like leak detection, space utilization, desk occupancy, and many more. So commercial IoT at scale has been an unfulfilled promise for over 10 years. And I know this personally because my role before founding Infogrid was commercial due diligence for private equity deals. So I was physically going to visit a broad range of different companies. And I saw time and time again that they suffered from a woeful lack of good quality operational data. When I inquired as to why, the answer was remarkably consistent. It's either too complicated, too expensive, or usually both to implement a connected device solution. So inertia was the competition. So this has been an unfulfilled promise, and Infogrid is finally delivering on that promise. Now that's important because there are 14 million commercial buildings across the EU and US alone. That's 1.4 billion sensors, or £37 billion a year. By 2024, 6 million of those sensors will have been deployed by Infogrid. That's 0.4% of the market, a drop in the ocean, but it's 159 million of recurring annual revenue. How are we going to do that? Well, we're already doing that with an end-to-end solution that includes microsensors the size of a pound coin and a powerful yet simple-to-use cloud platform. Simple to use is critical. This is something that your nurse, security guard, cleaner, your non-technical staff member can use immediately with no technical background, no training. And that's important because if you alienate them, you're alienating 90% of your workforce. Commercially, how does it work? Well, it's a SaaS model, 1 or 3 year recurring contracts paid in advance, and we ship the equipment directly to our clients. So hardware and software are set up by them in seconds. In fact, you can do a whole office in an hour. And I'm not just saying we can do this, we have done this. Less than a year ago, we deployed our first minimum viable product to the NHS. That was one site. Within 6 months, we'd reached 110 sites, We were only present for 2 of those sites. The other 108 they installed themselves. This is a typically very slow-moving organization who managed to expand incredibly rapidly. And they're so happy with what we've done that they're taking our product to the European Healthcare Estates Conference in October to present it on our behalf. But it's not just the NHS that we're working with. Since we joined the Elevate program back in November, we've started working with over 12 large corporates, some of the largest facilities management and property services companies in the country. So this shows that it's a real problem, and people are looking for a solution, and that solution hasn't existed until Infogrid came onto the scene. So we've got 2 clear head starts already in the market. We're by far the simplest and the lowest cost product out there, and therefore the most scalable. And that feeds into our 3 core defensibilities. Our tech, our rule engine and algorithms that make the vast quantities of data into something very easy for our clients to use. Our data, over 6 million data points already captured, and a huge amount of customer feedback that feeds into the platform, and network effect. Some of the largest companies in the world are now contacting us already to ask for meetings, having heard what we're doing with their competitors. We've done this with a small team so far. Myself and Rupert are very commercially and managerially experienced, and Bernhard and Simon have decades of tech experience between them, handling huge quantities of data, both in a large corporate and startup environment. But we want to go faster. We're having a huge amount of demand, much more than we expected, and we want to rise that challenge, hit the accelerator pedal. So that's why we're raising £2 million now to grow the team and rapidly scale. So if you'd like to be a part of that journey, please come and speak to us afterwards, and we'll go from there. Thanks ever so much.
Thanks, Will. Now I'd like you all to take a few moments and go back to your childhood. I appreciate it's been a while for some of us here, but give it a go. Think of the favorite books you read while you were growing up. Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, Famous Five, Charlotte's Web. What is it that all of them had in common? They're all classics. Children of all generations around the world have read them. But you might be surprised to know there is something else that they also had in common. Please welcome Alice from Lantana to tell you more.
Good evening. I'm Alice, and this is my nephew Ryan. Now, Ryan is one of around 2.5 million school children in the UK who identifies as Black, Asian, or minority ethnic. That's 1 in 3. Yet for every 100 books Ryan will read during his childhood, only 1 will feature a main character who looks like him. Only 1 will give him an identifiable hero, heroine, or role model to look up to. We're Lantana, and we have a mission to see all children included in the stories they read. We work with authors and illustrators of diverse heritage to publish award-winning children's books where characters of all ethnicities are the stars. We've been praised by the press for celebrating diversity and inclusion in Britain in a fresh, creative way. We sold around 65,000 books to 200 suppliers across 35 countries, with an average year-on-year revenue growth of 168%. We've licensed our content to audio and app producers, publishing houses, and theatre companies in countries around the world, including Korea, India, and China. And we've received just under 20 national and international awards and accolades for our work. We're reaching around 250,000 children each year, and we've achieved this with fewer than 20 books. That's just 2% of the stories submitted to us. So just think how many more children we could reach and how much more quickly we could reach them if we weren't constrained by the economics of publishing. So today, I'm not pitching you a publishing house. Today, I'm pitching you the way we're transforming diverse publishing into global story sharing. Lantana Stories is a crowdsourced online story sharing platform that revolutionizes the way authors and illustrators generate content. It's inspired by story sharing platforms like Wattpad that's built a community of 70 million readers and generated a series of New York Times bestsellers and a host of new shows for Netflix. But Wattpad is a site for adult writing. Lantana Stories is the missing link in social storytelling for children. And here's how it works. Authors and illustrators submit stories and images to the platform, and watch their content grow in popularity as it's liked and commented on by readers. Parents on sign up to our mailing list have free access to hundreds, if not thousands, of inclusive bedtime stories for their children. We already have 1,000 stories, and we already have an engaged and growing community of readers. So now, instead of picking just 2% of those stories to publish, we open them up to our community of readers on the platform and easily identify trending content so that we can license the IP in the most popular stories to multimedia companies around the world. In effect, we jettison the riskiest aspects of publishing in favor of the most lucrative, and we increase the number of children we reach to several million. We're living at a great time for children's content, with the global children's entertainment market worth around $132 billion. The time is right to give children like Ryan a whole new generation of main characters to aspire to. We're a team of diverse young women who are passionate about what we do and who've proven we can build a successful multi-award-winning publishing house that's laid the foundations for a disruptive new venture, a disruptive new model in children's entertainment. We're looking to raise $350,000 to $500,000 by the end of the year, and would love to talk to any of you who would be interested in helping us scale our business to the next level. And last but not least, you'll find one of our books in your goodie bags. Please give this book to a child you know and help become an ambassador for a world where all children feel included. Thank you.
Thank you, Alice. For those of us who have been in the UK for the last few days, do you remember how windy it was last Sunday? On that very day, UK's power prices were negative for 9 consecutive hours. That means if you had an electric car, you would literally get paid to charge your car. Now that you know it's possible, let's invite Pam from IntelliCharge to tell us how.
Hi, my name is Pam. I have spent 8 years running utilities M&A in the European market. And my husband, Lin, has spent in the last 20 years leading software development teams at global investment banks. So our career really had nothing to do with each other until we bought an electric vehicle together. Now, combining our industry knowledge and the experience of having to charge its beast twice a week, we realized that the electricity industry isn't quite ready for EV. And here is an example of that. We feel that the industry lacks of digital capability, lacks data intelligence, and then we realize that the combination, the very unique combination of our domain expertise, which is electricity plus software, and actually make us well positioned to make a change. One electric vehicle consumes the same amount of energy as a typical UK household in a year. So when we have 30 million of them worldwide in the next couple of years, they will be consuming £6.5 billion worth of electricity. And that's a huge new energy market, but one that is very challenging. Today, 80% of EV charging takes place in situations like this, when the car is parked and plugged in for a very long period of time, much longer than you need to actually take the electricity. When it does take electricity, it happens at a time when the grid is super stressed, the price is high, the sun's not shining, and the wind is not blowing. So you are potentially charging your zero-emission vehicle with the expensive, dirty power. Our idea is to simply use software connecting electric vehicles and the real-time energy market dynamics and automatically and remotely control each charging session. So not only you're having your car fully charged by the time you want it, but also you're charging your car with the cheapest and cleanest energy while helping the grid to balance. Also, as a result, your energy suppliers will save 30% on electricity procurement. And they will share that with you in the form of a very competitive, attractive energy tariff. Today, our software is integrated with the leading brand of electric vehicles and the leading brand of EV charging infrastructure, and we're delivering a paid pilot for one of UK's largest independent energy suppliers. Tomorrow, we'll go out there to integrate with more EVs, more EV charging points, and provide our software service as a SaaS platform to more energy suppliers. Now, I hope you all agree with me that the energy industry or the electricity industry really isn't an easy one to work with. I know from the start that we have to do so much more in order to showcase our capabilities and to build our influence with all the stakeholders in order to make a change. That is why, on top of making our EV charging platform, we also provide software consultancy on industry data flow for the energy industry. We also provide consultancy on smart grid and vehicle to grid. In addition to that, we've been selected by Plug and Play, the energy and sustainability platform. We're speaking to energy companies worldwide from US, Germany to China and France. We're working very closely with policymakers, industry code and regulators to make sure that we have a say in our energy future. So it's fair to say that we are essentially our own energy tech accelerator. Now, finally, if you're someone who have the magic wand to make the utility industry move faster, I would love to have a chat with you. If you're someone who shares our passion, agree with our approach, and have experience in B2B software or utility, I would love to have a chat with you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Pam. Growing up, I used to play with these cards, which had these pictures of football players and WWE players and baseball players. The fancy ones had this holographic 3D image, and it completely baffles me that a company is now using similar concepts for cancer diagnostics. Please welcome Ollie from See-Through.
Good evening. I'm Ollie. We are See-Through Scientific, and we are developing tools to chase down cancer. So I'm sure you're all aware of how much cancer takes from us. 1/4 of the deaths each year, and over £18 billion from the UK economy. One of the key challenges is that cancer cells will detach from a primary tumour, travel via the bloodstream, and establish tumours in remote locations. And this is very difficult to treat. So this is called metastasis, and it's actually responsible for 90% of the deaths due to cancer. Understanding these particular metastatic cells is key. But researchers can't get hold of these cells. To start with, there are very few in the blood, but the existing techniques miss many of them and damage them in the process of isolation. And what researchers and ultimately clinicians will really need is to get the maximal number of cells, but still alive, such that they can test drugs on them. We are developing a software-enabled solution. This is a device which directly measures features including the shape of the cells, which is beyond existing techniques. And we have a UK and a US patent pending process which very gently isolates the metastatic cells from the background blood cells, meaning drugs can more likely be applied. So one starts with 10 milliliters of blood. In this, there are around 10 billion blood cells. What a researcher would like to do is to remove all of those 10 billion blood cells and retain the 100 or so metastatic cancer cells. There exist already rapid and convenient techniques to get down to around 100,000 blood cells. But then there are issues. And that's where our solution comes in. It's like the last mile in live cell isolation. Within our device, we will get down to the final 100 cells. But furthermore, and without supporting instruments, we will provide the researcher individual cells or cell clusters one at a time. And this means that the maximal use can be made of each sample. This is a big problem. Worldwide, around $50 billion is invested in developing anti-cancer drugs. Most drugs don't make it to market, and of those that do get through clinical approval, it costs around $500 million. So we would like to make this investment more impactful. We're about improving the odds of developing a blockbuster drug. We aim to provide the most dangerous cells and also to provide researchers with the flexibility to target alternative cells, meaning a more diverse range of research paths can be pursued. It can be seen as a distributed solution. At a fraction of the cost, many more researchers can access these cells, and since they're being isolated closer to the source, it's more likely that they will survive and drugs can be tested upon them. Our device is around 1/10 of the size and the cost of the closest comparable instrument. And we have options for recurring revenue. Every time a sample is analysed or processed, a new consumable flow cell must be used and our software infrastructure must be accessed. It's this software infrastructure that we've built from scratch, which is our core IP. This enables holographic microscopy, which we use to get three-dimensional and phase contrast information on every cell in the sample. We also have a streamlined neural network architecture, which allows us to rapidly and more reproducibly identify each cell in a sample. And this platform has already allowed us to develop a second device. This is for cell therapy manufacturing. It's a module that monitors expansion, and it will save around 500 hours of labour costs per device. We've been showcased by Innovate UK for this product. We've won grant funding and solved the major technical challenges to our approach. As I said, we've filed the UK and US patent for our enrichment device, and we've established potent partnerships with clinicians and researchers, giving us access to valuable resources to take this work further. The team is myself and Dr. Erwin Zaid. We both did biophysics DPhils here in Oxford. We then went to work at high-growth startup companies. I was developing optics for next-generation DNA sequencing. Erwin was building infrastructure for data science. We came back together and founded See Through Scientific. This summer we'll be raising $750,000. This is the complete development of our initial products and to get them into the hands of early customers. If you'd like to take part, please get in touch. Our information is here. Thank you very much.
With that, we're midway through having finished 5 of our pitches, and I'd like to remind you that all of the benches will be here all evening in this breakout area on my left if you want to discuss further or ask any questions. Our next venture has a remarkable story of how a massive laundry task in his rugby team led to a stellar startup, which is now building solutions for you and a rapidly growing market which currently has no solution to rely on. And while they do that, are also saving the environment. Please welcome Kyle from Oxwash.
Hi everyone, my name's Kyle. I'm the CEO and founder of Oxwash, and my rockstar team and I are completely re-engineering the laundry industry and cleaning up its dirty little secret. So the Oxwash story started a little over a year ago when I was cleaning some overripe rugby kit in my college laundry room, and I encounter this problem every time I went, where there are clothes everywhere, there's detergent on the floor, irons on, it's a bit of a hazard. I'm on the WhatsApp group to all of my mates, and they've got exactly the same problem in all of the laundrettes around the city. So what does any self-respecting PhD student do? They get a delivery backpack, spray paint it blue, start a type form, partner with a laundrette, and you've got a laundry service. Things grew so quickly that almost exactly a year ago, we rented a shipping container near the train station. I hired 2 of my friends to help me, and we really started hitting the town hard on our bikes. But what was interesting is that we started to get high volumes of business from places we didn't immediately think of, and that really got me thinking about the entire industry and the landscape for a laundry service. What I found is that as consumers, individuals, we're very well served. You can use Uber for X clones such as Laundrapp or I Hate Ironing, or even your own washing machine in your house. If you're a large enterprise player such as a hotel or potentially a hospital, there are large industry players in the intercity spaces that will serve you with inefficient logistics links. If you're an Airbnb host or an SME owner, such as a cafe or a restaurant, you're way too small for these large industry players to bother bringing articulated lorries down congested city streets, such as that outside. But you're too large to be able to stand with an ironing board day in, day out, processing your Airbnb linens. So we realized that that is the gap that we're going to hit really hard. It's also the fastest growing segment of a £3.8 billion UK market at 22% year on year. Currently, the model for a laundry service is completely broken. There are large logistics links between the service, which is inefficient, and the customer. And that logistic link means there's no inflexibility. If you need a cleaner to partner with your laundry at an Airbnb in a 10-minute window, it's not possible. The next best service will do a 2 to 3 hour window. And for our customers, that just does not work with the modern lifestyle of operating a business, and they're incredibly frustrated. When you couple with that recent evidence has shown that the laundry industry is the most polluting service industry on the planet, there's a massive problem, and I'm really passionate about solving this with my team. We spent a lot of time re-engineering the process itself from the ground up, powering the entire system from renewable energy and reclaiming almost 80% of the water that's used in the wash. We then used custom-designed electric cargo bikes, such as the one outside, to be within shooting distance of our customers in 10 to 15 minutes. And they absolutely love this service. If you go on Google, you can read some of our reviews and see firsthand how they've interacted with our service to date. And not only that, we think we're really improving on the sustainability of the model. How do we do this? It's quite innovative, I believe. We thought outside the box and ended up right back in a box. By containerizing and modularizing the process, we have full control of the processes and are able to drive sustainability. The entire process is digital, so we can track items throughout the process and wipe away the 15% loss rate that's present in the industry. We wash at the same temperature that water comes out the cold tap and use technology that's used on the space station to sterilize the wash to above healthcare standards. What I find really interesting and what we're passionate about at Oxwash is also our impact on the plastic waste issue worldwide. Every time you do a wash, 1 billion microfibers of synthetic particles are released into the ecosystem. And with our technology, we're able to filter up to 95% of those. We've had some fantastic traction since joining the Elevate program last year. We had our 50th contract in January this year, which actually happens to be the university itself, which was fantastic. We then secured a pre-seed round of just under £500,000 in March, and we're just about to launch our pilot partnership with Deliveroo to help us scale our model across the UK. But what does that look like? So our target markets across the UK are cities with high congestion, high tourism rates, young professionals, conscious consumers, so pretty much every single city you can think of. And with our partnership with Deliveroo, we're able to deploy our containerized laundries on the same sites as their dark kitchens, share riders, and also become their primary partner for restaurant linen and workwear to their 400,000 independent restaurants across the UK. We're in talks with the 2 largest property management companies in the UK to pilot a project where we serve not only their laundry issue with bed linen and such, but also the logistics too with our powerful bike-driven logistics platform. And we're hoping to help solve the pain issue of 2.5 million properties across the UK. Our next steps. We're currently right in the middle of deploying our first laundry, just 4 minutes cycle away just past the train station, which is going to be up and running at the end of June. We're now engaging with seed funds in a bid to close a seed round of £1.5 million in October, which will help us scale with strategic partners that we're looking for in logistics and operations in the latter half of this year and potentially in Q1 of next year. I passionately believe that service industries worldwide are completely broken, and I really think that our model that we've started with laundry can go way beyond this, and I'd be really interested and would love it if you join us on our journey. So please come and talk to me afterwards, and thank you so much for listening.
Thanks, Kyle. I have used Oxwash's services and I can vouch, they're fantastic. There's a lot of data that is being created and recorded. In fact, every 2 days, we record more data than that was recorded up until 2003. But what happens to all of this data? Is it used? Is it analyzed? According to MIT, less than 0.5% of all data ever recorded is analyzed. While MIT is publishing all of these articles, a startup from Oxford is finding the solution to go to the next step. Please welcome Fred to tell us more.
Thank you, Mikesh. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Scalework, a marketplace for data science solutions. My name is Frederick, and I'm CEO and co-founder. And according to KPMG, over 80% of companies haven't even started of deploying data science in their daily operations. And when asked, these companies report the lack of data experts to be their #1 problem. They cannot hire in a market where demand is twice the supply. They can't afford to house a full in-house data science organization that will cost them north of $1 million, and they're unwilling to spend on expensive consultants. So at Scalework, we offer a marketplace where you can source your data experts that build and maintain your data science solutions. And you don't have to have your in-house data science experts, but you source your solutions individually and on demand. It's simple, and it's even more cost-effective than your in-house data expert. So let's look at Gerhard. Gerhard is the head of operations for a German construction company. Gerhard wants to improve his operations and needs a better demand forecasting model. So he goes on our website. Within 4 simple clicks, he uploads the problem. We match it with the best experts in the world. They start collaborating on our platform. The data is uploaded to a secure environment, and the data scientist delivers the solution. We settle the transaction, done. But we also offer them to host and service the solution afterwards, as most companies are not able to do that themselves. So what we've just created is an effective outsourcing channel for these companies. And from what we've learned, we expect the market opportunity for this to be $3 billion in Germany and the UK alone. So what drives this business? 2 things. For one, we bring efficiency to the global data expert market. While we have pressing needs in Western economies for data scientists, we see growing availability all over the world in emerging tech hubs, and I can personally speak to the excellence of data scientists from Nigeria or Ghana, and Google just opened their latest AI research center in Accra, Ghana. So we're tapping into these emerging talent pools, and we're making sure to select the very best. Secondly, we introduce a high standardization to the solution delivery on our platform. We incorporate a framework for collaboration and template solutions for most of the problems. And our freelancer get an upskill academy where they can further be trained, and where we have a stage for them to develop their role models and their community leaders. So only in our first 4 months, we have onboarded our first 3 clients, secured 50K in revenues, launched in Ghana, and screened and profiled already 50,000 experts. And our clients, they love it. This is LafargeHolcim. They're a market leader of $30 billion in the construction industry. And equally important, we secured industry partnerships that help us to identify the most pressing use cases and build them out on our platform. So prior, our client had to choose between a frustrating and insecure solution where they self-source their freelancers, or Quantum Black or other full-service consultancies. And now we have a clear product and cost leader for the solutions that we offer. And this is the team behind this disruption. We understand data science delivery from every key angle. I personally have a background in machine learning, and I was in charge of the data strategy of one of the largest media companies in Europe. Tobias is a successful serial entrepreneur, and his tech organizations have raised over 60 million. And Michael is a professor for data science, and he has already consulted over 100 companies in data science in his 7 years at McKinsey. And we're just getting started. We have actually launched 4 months ago within and because of this program, and we're taking our traction now into the summer, iterating on our go-to-market and validating our acquisition channels prior to raising a round in Q3 or Q4 to further scale out. So tonight, I want to offer you to join this journey as advisors that can help us scale, as partners that want to have a data science solution, or as investors who want to support us in our round at the end of this year. So please join us in connecting this world on data science. Thank you very much, and we look forward to speaking to you.
Thank you, Fred. India has one of the largest number of consumers in the world, and it's one of the fastest growing economies in the world. But 70% of India lives in its villages, which means that there are hundreds of millions of rural Indians who have not been included in this fascinating growth story. Our next company is going to change that. Please welcome Ronit from Empower Energy.
Thank you. Hello everyone, I'm Ronit Kanwar from Empower Energy, and we're connecting rural India to the modern economy. Now, rural India is one of the biggest opportunities in front of us today. It's getting richer day by day, with GDP set to double by 2030. Mobile phone penetration is growing 20% year on year, and this means 800 million rural consumers are aspiring to be a part of this modern economy. However, more than 300 million Indians are still being left behind today, forced to use outdated alternatives like kerosene for lighting, wood stoves for cooking, and improvised solutions for phone charging. Why is it that all of the technology exists that would change their lives, but they're still being left behind? Well, there are three key barriers to access. Firstly, products reaching these communities are simply of low quality and villagers don't trust them. And even if villagers are aware of high-quality solutions, they simply aren't available locally. And finally, these individuals cannot afford the upfront costs of these solutions. But at Empower Energy, we're building a last-mile distribution company to tackle exactly these barriers. We provide high-quality products to these consumers directly in their local village shop, without any upfront costs, using our leasing model. And shopkeepers are key to our success. They already have long-standing relationships with these individuals. And since they're already providing them with an informal source of credit, this means that they can help us to identify reliable consumers we can lease to. But how does this work? Starting with our first products of solar lamps and fans, we provide them to our shopkeepers, who then lease them to the end households. Our consumers pay our franchisees and receive an SMS code which unlocks their device for a week. And every time our consumers purchase another unlocked token, our franchisees receive a commission and are incentivized to screen out bad credit risks. As well as that, we are collecting data and understanding our communities, which is what sets us apart. From each of these transactions, we are beginning to understand our rural communities, their spending patterns, their demographics, and more importantly, the other needs that we can serve using exactly this model. And since we are in direct contact with them through their mobile phones, we can market additional solutions like fans, TVs, smartphones. The possibilities are just endless. And our business model, we've already reached take-up rates of 60% in the first villages in which we're operating, just within 2 weeks. Compare that with the existing distribution model, whereby they only make 1 or 2 sales on the first visits. As well as that, since the payback period for each of our units is only 8 months, this means that we can rapidly grow our presence across rural India, but more importantly, build up an intimate understanding of these rural communities and their needs. As well as that, our business is having an impact in these communities. We've reduced kerosene consumption by 70%. Children are studying longer at night. And we've also doubled the income of some of the local entrepreneurs. And since starting in June last year with 150 customers, we have raised 160,000. And throughout the Elevate program, we have tried and tested more than 8 models. We have thousands of customer insights, and we are now scaling our standardized solution. In fact, this month we are launching our and we are looking to raise £500,000 by November, which will allow us to start reaching our vision of being in more than 10,000 villages by 2023. And we have a big vision, but we also have the team to execute on this. Gideon, having scaled social enterprises for the last 5 years, is in charge of operations. Praveen, having started companies in India, is in charge of our local team. And James is advising us on data and impact. But today, we would like you to join us on our journey as we transform rural India. We are seeking partnerships with businesses interested in our growing customer base. And as well as that, we are presenting you with the opportunity to invest in Empower today, which will one day become the largest last-mile distribution company in India. Thank you very much for listening.
Sorry, if I could please grab Ronit for a few more seconds. If you don't know this already, Ronit is a final year undergraduate at Oxford and will be writing one of his toughest final exams tomorrow morning. So can we please give Ronit a big round of applause and good luck for tomorrow. When I hear of naturally sourced or cruelty-free or free of allergens, what I think about is food or the clothing industry. Our next entrepreneur is ensuring that the same standards are met for skincare. Please welcome founder and CEO of Wow You, Ella.
Hello, my name is Ella O'Connor, and I'm the co-founder and CEO of Wow You. We create naturally powered skincare for the millennial consumer. In 2017, I was diagnosed with celiac disease. This caused a huge change in diet for me and meant spending hours reading ingredients lists. This made me far more curious of not only the ingredients in my food, but also the ingredients in my skincare. I was really struggling with my skin at the time and wanted to use cruelty-free and natural skincare products, but found that all of the options available to me were way out of my price range. Discussing this with my partner Leo, and with his background in web design and marketing, we decided to create the skincare solution that I was looking for. We started researching the global skincare market and found that it's exploding with year-on-year growth. We also discovered that I wasn't alone and that many others were also seeking natural and cruelty-free skincare. In 2018 alone, these markets increased by 16 and 18%. With increased conviction that we were bringing the right products to market at exactly the right time, we created Wow You. All of our products are clean, we use natural ingredients, they're all cruelty-free, and they're made here in the UK. We are on a mission to champion skin positivity, and all our products help you to say to yourself, wow, you look amazing. Our target audience is female aged 18 to 35, so we went straight to Instagram to talk with our customer directly. We started building our Instagram prior to launching our website in August last year, and this meant that we had our first sale within 10 minutes. Since then, our Instagram has exploded, and we now have over 24,000 followers. Our engagement rate on Instagram is through the roof, significantly outperforming our competitors. We've had over 1,200 orders in that time, with an average order value of £34 and an average order profit of £15 per order. Our customers are raving about our products. We've had over 200 five-star reviews, and our repeat customer rate is currently at 34%. Now, we never planned to sell to retailers, but if Boots contacted you after just 5 weeks of trading, what would you do? Since then, we've also been contacted by several other major retailers, and we're stocked with Urban Outfitters, Riley Rose, and Aerie. Since our launch and since joining this amazing accelerator program, with each quarter our revenue has doubled, and we're not stopping there. Over the next 12 months, we aim to generate a revenue of £1.2 million. To do this, we will invest in new product development, in website optimization, and in PR and marketing. Now, I know what you're thinking. Isn't this a super saturated market with lots of competition? Well, our formulations are effective without containing harsh ingredients that irritate your skin. We also offer these formulations at a much lower price point than our competitors. Our team consists of myself, a material science graduate with passion and a unique understanding of the skincare problems our target market faces, and my partner Leo, with 10 years web design and marketing experience. We're also lucky to have strategic advice from Sophie, a former CFO at Merrill Lynch, and an NED at Bupa. So my question to you tonight is, will you join us? We're looking to raise pre-seed investment of £500,000 in the next 3 to 6 months. If you're interested in joining us in scaling this business to the next level, we'd love to discuss this further with you afterwards. Thank you very much for your time.
So Ella has some of our products on display there, so you're very welcome to use them at the end of all of the pitches. And now, for the last one in the series, Alexander is going to tell us about a company inspired by the founder of National Health Services, Nai Bevan. Him and his team have spent the last 10 years in Somali building health tech on a project funded by UK's Department of International Development. And after that, doing digital health in UK ought to be easy. Please welcome Alexander from Nai Health.
Hello, the Foundry. 9 down, huh? I'm Alexander, the co-founder and CEO of Nai. Nai is a platform that improves the lives of doctors and improves the lives of patients by enabling all UK general practices to deliver digital consultations to their patients, and all UK citizens to access a radical new type of data-driven mobile healthcare. See, the thing is in life, I think we all aspire to a life which is happy, healthy, and lasts until a ripe old age. At Nai, we call this the square wave. Who'd like a square wave? Biz wants a square wave. And the thing is, I'd like a square wave too. But the problem is, I'm a GP, and tomorrow morning I'm going to have 20 patients in clinic who want a square wave, and I'd love to be the person that was able to give it to them. Unfortunately, the reality of life often looks a lot different. Why is this? Well, the answer is it's complicated. And in order to address it, we would need to go deep into people's lives and into their local communities. But first, a moment on healthcare. So NHS general practice, much like primary care doctors all around the world, suffer from 3 principal problems: more complicated patients and less time, a loss of staff, and a reduction in income. So we got a problem. On the one hand, we've got a healthcare system under strain, and on the other, we've got patients who want a life that looks a little bit more like this, and understandably want more convenient access to their healthcare. How are we going to solve this problem? Well, again, it's complicated. In order to solve this problem, we would need vast amounts of data, a huge user base, and a significant amount of money. Fortunately, Nai Bevan's NHS is positioned to be front and center of a metamorphosis in the way we use technology to go deep into people's lives in order to give doctors and patients a life that looks a little bit more like a square wave. So, meet Nai. We have built and deployed the capability for every NHS practice to deliver convenient digital consultations to their patients. We have built a distribution channel through strategic partnerships to 600,000 patients. But most importantly, we have built, but not yet released, the capabilities for 40 million citizens to unleash their medical data and power smarter healthcare decision-making. Lastly, we've raised a £1.5 million seed round from the local community and from large strategic healthcare investors. So what's our revenue model? Well, our first product, which we call the Nai Phone, is software for doctors and an app for patients that enables NHS clinics to deliver more efficient consultations and NHS patients to get access to more convenient healthcare. If a doctor chooses to use Nai, neither the doctor nor the patient needs to pay. We get reimbursed by the healthcare system. Second, we use our distribution channel to pipe in technology-enabled Nai doctors to relieve the pressure on overstretched and understaffed NHS general practices. And lastly, we bring income into local NHS practices by using our data-rich distribution channel to enable all local communities to take part in the world's best research. And the thing is, these are not local problems, so whilst Nai is being forged at the coalface of Nai Bevan's National Health Service, we are building it for the world. So who's the team behind this? We are 15 extraordinary geeks and entrepreneurs. They're at the back. I love you guys. with experience raising more than £10 million for digital health companies, building and deploying data analytics platforms for the defense industry, working for the world's largest pharmaceutical companies, and scaling healthcare services. So what's our goal? Well, in healthcare, we measure impact in quality-adjusted life years. One quality-adjusted life year is the same as one additional year of good life. At NIE, we envisage a world where 1 billion additional years of good life is worth more than 1 billion clicks or even $1 billion. So what's our ask? There's three things I want to ask this evening. First, we're looking for strategic partnerships with healthcare providers in the UK and internationally. Secondly, in 12 to 18 months, we're going to be doing a Series A financing. And third, perhaps most importantly, I have a massive favor to ask of everybody in the audience. Please download the NIE application today, where you'll find a feature that we released especially for Demo Day today. That feature has embedded in it an automated step that will alert your local practice manager you're interested in using NIE. We estimate that if everybody sitting in the room today and everybody watching on the live cast was to take these few steps, you would set us on a journey to reaching 1.6 million more patients, and in so doing, becoming the largest digital primary care company in the UK. So, we're on a mission to build the kindest community on earth, and we'd absolutely love for you to join us. Thank you.
Thank you, Alex. Ladies and gentlemen, can we have a huge round of applause for all of Cohort 2 of Elevate? You've gotten a glimpse of what they do, but they will be around all evening to answer any questions or discuss further. And now, for the last few minutes in between you and the open bar, I'll invite Anna for the closing remarks. Thank you very much. It's been a delight speaking to you.
Standing here right now. You're welcome to come back. So Mikesh is raising too, and I asked him to do a cheeky pitch and even say at the end it wouldn't be entrepreneurial if I didn't. But it seems he was a bit too shy to do it. So would you mind just telling us now?
Sure,
Spotlight.
Wouldn't miss an opportunity. Yes, as Anna said, we have been very gladly been supported by the Foundry over the last 1.5 years, and we just got a grant from Innovate UK, which was match funded by OSI, which is keeping us going for the next 2 years, but we will be doing a round at the end of this year to accelerate this growth and bring in more people and fuel commercialization, as well as building our second product, which we aim to launch in 2.5 years' time for children suffering from asthma around the world. So if you're interested, please speak to me as well. Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you. So I just wanted to say a massive thank you to you all. No man is an island, as they say, or no woman is an island. And of course, it's taken an incredible team to put this together. So Alex, who's the accelerator manager and leads and supports the ventures on a daily basis. Woo! Dan and Rosie, who have basically led the coordination and operations of this whole event. They've made this possible. Becky and Tara, who have basically done the whole comms and branding around this whole event. Tara's our comms and design genius. Becky's just my right-hand woman. Thank you so much as well. I'm going through my whole team, I'm sorry. Kate, big up Kate over there. I stole her from Peter. Thank you, Kate. Kate is brilliant, and she helps coordinate my life and everyone else as well. Johnny, who I can't see because he's in the back right now. Johnny's our outreach manager. Katie is our skills and training manager, who's not with us today. We've got awesome reception. Margaret, Marta, everyone. If I've missed you, I'm sorry. AV, brilliant AV. Jamie, Ellie, where's Ellie? She's at the back. Thank you so much. So we pulled this together. The centre is purely philanthropic. We're investing our blood, sweat and tears in everything we do. We're so grateful to our experts and residents who are here today as well. They give us time in kind. They invest into these ventures to make what you saw today possible. And I hope you agree with me that there is not much difference between a university accelerator program and a commercial accelerator program. Now, on that note, I just want to call Peter to say a few words if you'd like to, and also the ventures to come out so we can take some photos, and we will not take too much of your time between food and alcohol and the marketplace.
So thank you, Anna. So I don't know about you, but are you just blown away by this amazing stuff? How wide, how broad are the needs that we have, whether it's from inspiring our kids or making sure that we're healthy or making sure the electric is, our needs are so broad. And how deep is our ambition? Really deep. So I think of that as huge space. There's this big space that we need to fill. And that's what entrepreneurs do. They fill that space, which comes to this. So in my mind, this is the space that we fill. And sometimes we fill it with O's, and sometimes we fill it with X's, and sometimes we fill it with X's. But entrepreneurs come from all different kinds, and what we saw is a wide range of entrepreneurs. So Arlen, thank you for the way that you started today. What the Foundry is about is filling that space, finding those needs and finding the ambition of young people, all different kinds of young people from Oxford, and then seeing if their dreams can come true. Because if their dreams come true, the world becomes a far better place. That's what the Foundry is all about. Someone asked me the best thing I've done since I've been dean. And the best thing I've done is to hire Anna Bakshi. Because in the same way that she spots talent among all of you, hopefully I spotted a little talent too. And we're all the beneficiary of Anna and her great team. So I'd like to thank a lot of people. She's already thanked her whole team. I'd like to thank our funders who are shown up on the wall. Some are here. Our advisors, the university. I'd like to thank all of you from the university who've come out and support us. I'd like to thank the students. 2 years ago when we opened this, it wasn't obvious that this would be your home. This would be your tribe, but it is now. I hope you feel that way. And together, who knows what the next year or 2 years or 5 years are going to bring. But for tonight, let's celebrate these 10 amazing ventures. And I think it's time for them to come out. Come on, guys. And Anna, if you would. Closing congratulations for this great team. If you've got money, come see these great teams up here. If you're a partner, come see these great teams up here. If you can help them in any way, please come see them. But mostly, thank you for coming out tonight. Enjoy the rest of the evening. And again, thank you to everybody.